Hello friends, welcome to another Luciano the Jumper video. In today's video we are going to be beginning a very special jump, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past. This jump has a lot of the standard things going for it. There is an intro blurb, there are 1,000 choice points, there are a number of different origins. We are going to go ahead and take a glance at the age that we are going to be getting. As usual, our gender is going to be effectively that of a male, but our age is not something that we know just yet. So let's go ahead and find it out. We are now going to go ahead and roll 2d8. Alright, so 8 plus 4 plus 10, which equals 22. So that's going to be this version of our jumper's current age. Let's go. Alright, now that we know our jumper's current age, let's go ahead and very quickly mention that this is going to be the last jump with which we get the 500 standard default universal bonus to our choice point budget as a result of our modified bank supplement as well as the homebrew rules that we are using for the first few jumps. This will be the 5th setting that we have gone to in some capacity that we are going to be adding 500 points to our budget, because the last 2 jumps that we did were fused settings where we had 2 jumps in each decade that we were in. So now we are going to go ahead and keep looking. Our origin for this particular jump is going to be night. There is a very special reason why night is the origin that we are going with. There is an extremely useful, extremely good, very Luciano-esque perk that we are going to be getting. I think that anyone who sees it, anyone who knows what this jump offers offhand could very easily recognize why it is that that is the origin that we have chosen, and if not, you will certainly understand it when you see it. We are going to be doing as the jump suggests and starting off in Kakariko Village in the Light World. For those of you who do not know, The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past is one of the Legend of Zeldas where there are 2 worlds. In this case, there is the Light World and the Dark World, and it is a very fascinating adventure, as we are going to discover when we do our storytime video, when we see our storytime video together tomorrow. That said, let's go ahead and keep on moving so that way we can go through this video. We will also be talking about drawbacks and other things once we get to that point, but now we're going to go ahead and head on over to the perk section. So we are going to not take a second to glance through this, although obviously anyone who wants to read these perks certainly can, but we are going to be doing the night. As usual, we are going to be going all in. But we are going to take a second to explore each of the perks that we are grabbing. Remember, 1,500 choice points, that is our budget. The first 2 perks are free, so it all falls to you, and the woes of a pink rabbit are going to cost us nothing. It all falls to you makes it so that your will power increases as the situation grows more dire and as you face more pressure. The woes of a pink rabbit makes it so that you are skilled at running away, which is kind of funny since a knight is a warrior and Link is the wielder of the Triforce of Courage. That said, we are going to be running away. This is just a straight speed booster as well as probably a sort of skill and competence booster when it comes to running away that not only makes you better at running away, but also makes it so that there are more opportunities for you to get away. Additionally, carrying large objects won't slow you down. You could carry a fish almost as large as you are, or a treasure chest, and run just as fast, and that's neat. Luciano the Jumper is already such a speedy agender adventurer that that is not going to be wildly useful on its own, especially because Luciano's main tactics already involve speed. But still, this is a nice little quality of life booster to have that makes it so that at least as long as we're not doing any sort of lockout things or anything like that, we will have opportunities to we will be able to fully leverage our speed. I think that's super neat. Now we are going to go ahead and take a look at the first perks that are actually going to cost us money. These two perks put together are going to cost us 200, so that is going to reduce us from 1500 to 1300. They are Trust Your Instincts and the Truth Comes Out. Trust Your Instincts makes it so that you can replicate Link's feats of being able to go from his home, I believe, outside of Kakariko Village, between Kakariko Village and the castle, and go and find Zelda in the castle where she was locked away over the course of a single night just after hearing her mental voice and trusting his instincts. That is very neat. It's a kind of luck booster, and also a determination and skill booster that just makes it so that you are able to get where you need to go. The Truth Comes Out makes it so that false claims against you, especially false claims that go against you, that go against your character as people understand it, are just not likely things that people are going to trust. So it's not a defense against true claims in any sort of way, but if someone accuses you of doing something that you didn't do, people would know not to trust them. And it's very neat. There's a very neat inverse effect of this, kind of. It's not the opposite, it is the inverse in a very specific way. It makes it so that when you tell the truth, but it sounds positively wild, people will tend to believe you. So that is incredibly handy. This is not a if you are telling the truth, people will always believe you perk, although those do exist, and I have plans for Luciano to go to a jump where they will be getting one of those perks in the nearish future. We have not yet hit the fantastic perk that I want us to get, but we are going to go ahead. Remember, we are now at 1300, and in a second we are going to be at 900 because Pure of Hearts and Many Hands Make Light Work put together, due to how discounts work, are going to cost 400, and 1300 minus 400 is 900. Pure of Heart makes it so that you, as long as you are clear-minded and you stay away from negative emotions, you will become immune to mind-altering and transformative magics. Even if you fail, you're still extraordinarily resilient. You can actually kind of cheat with this if you want to gain the benefits of transformative magic, especially corruptive transformative magic, but it's probably better for you to just sort of focus on the immunity, because apparently if you allow yourself to be corrupted or transformed too many times, it can be easier for the magic to wear you down and sneak past your defenses. Many Hands Make Light Work is one of those reward slash kindness perks where if you do something nice, there is some sort of benefit. I am always going to be getting those, and we are going to be following the rule of if you get a perk that does something that you already do have in some capacity, it boosts the effectiveness. It is not it's not like a square multiplier, but it is an additive. So if you have something that gives you 5 times the skill twice, you're not going to have 10 times the skill or 25 times the skill, but you'll probably have about 7.5 times the skill, something like that. So I just really like having these sorts of abilities. I think that they're really neat and they're really handy. So we are going to be grabbing them for right now. And now we are going to be reducing ourselves to 300 choice points once we take both of these, because once we take both of the capstones, because the capstones put together are going to cost 600 choice points. There is something that we're going to see with regards to the items, which is a little bit neat that I really liked, but we're not quite there yet. Born for Glory is a perk that makes it so that you can inherit almost anything from your parents or from your guardians. I really like that. This is a really neat idea. I'm very glad that we have it. This means so that if you have a family in a jump, you are able to get skills from them. Link's uncle in this, I believe, was a knight who ends up getting defeated, and you are able to find him fairly early, and you're able to grab some stuff from him, and you are also able to inherit some of his skill, presumably, at least anyway, especially because Link very quickly manages to learn about a whole bunch of stuff and manages to use the skills that he gains in battle to incredible effect very quickly. And now, the true reason I wanted to come to this particular jump. Wish for peace. This is an incredible perk. Up until now, Luciano has not had a way to resurrect people, and this is not at all a surefire way to resurrect someone. However, if you are facing off against a villain who has done incredible evil and you have Wish for Peace, with this perk, you are able to, when you defeat them, undo some of the damage that their evilness has caused. For example, if you defeat a murderer, especially if you make it so that a murderer cannot do any more murders, then some of their victims could come back. Obviously, it's worth noting that, like, precisely what will happen depends on the nature of the evil villain that you have defeated. If you defeat a knife-wielding punk who was desperately hungry and was willing to cause a little bit of mayhem to make it so that they could get something to eat, that is not going to do something as big as, like, clean a polluted river or anything. The villains that you defeat directly correlate to the evils that get undone. They are the direct causes of the evil that gets undone. And defeating them is the, like, way, is the vessel by which their evil gets undone. And when their evil gets undone, maybe up to half of it will suddenly be done away with through some sort of plot contrivance. So for example, if Luciano the Jumper were to go to the let's say that Luciano the Jumper were to go to Breath of the Wild, with this ability, they would be able to do something extremely cool, and they would be able to defeat Calamity Ganon or Water Blight Ganon, and they would be able to bring back some of the victims of those particular characters. If they bring back half of the people who were slain by Calamity Ganon, that is a complete and total setting changer. It is something that would transform the setting that they are in an extremely positive way. If they were able to go and defeat Waterblight Ganon and that brought back Mipha, wouldn't that be incredible? This is also an extremely powerful heroism type perk, and it was something that I only noticed when I was doing like a read through of all of the Legend of Zelda jumps, so that way I knew which would be the first that we would be sending Luciano the Jumper to, and I knew that it had to be this one when I saw Wish for Peace. That said, we are now at 300 choice points. We are going to go ahead and go over to the items. Let's go and see what is over there. I want to make sure. These are general perks. Okay. General items. Okay. All origins receive a 200 choice point stipend for items only. That is extremely neat. I don't know how incredibly useful that is going to be for us, but that is definitely something worth looking at. Okay, so we are going to be getting something very interesting here with the light and the dark. Obviously, 100 choice point tier items are free for the origin that you have. We have our Luciano the Jumper's origin is the night origin, so they are going to be getting a light in the dark. It is worth noting that they are not going to be getting the version of this that is the lamp, a sword, and a shield. Instead, they are going to be getting a hand crossbow, which is going to end up being very important for them. So, after that, they now have their budget, so they have a total of 500 choice points that they can use. They are going to be going ahead and grabbing both the golden sword and some silver arrows. And the way that they are going to be doing that is they are going to be spending the first 300 choice points on the arrows, which they're going to be using with their hand crossbow. The arrows are not only shifting themselves to fit into any ranged weapon, they are also custom built to bypass as many defensive enchantments as possible, resulting in a weapon that can bypass almost any magical barrier or defense and most physical defenses. Luciano also has a number of perks that make them very good at wielding just all sorts of weaponry, including ranged weapons, most particularly their sort of weapon training perk from their body mod, which is going to be very handy. And then they are going to need another 100 choice points to get this version of the Sword of Evil's Bane, the Master Sword. The Master Sword is, as I'm sure many of you who are familiar with Legend of Zelda lore can remember, an incredible anti-evil weapon, and it is one of the most significant reasons why I wanted Luciano the Jumper to come to this particular setting. I thought that it would be incredible for them to go ahead and have something like that in their repertoire, especially once, or in their arsenal, now that they have the Wish for Peace perk in their repertoire, in their build. Because obviously the Sword of Evil's Bane does a lot more damage against evil beings. And that said, we are now going to go ahead. I'm going to go and show these things for 2 seconds before we go ahead and visit the drawback section. All we actually need is 100 additional points. I thought about getting Tools the Hero and Book of Mudra, and I don't think that we really need either of these things. So I am going to just go ahead and grab 100 choice points, so that way we can add those to, that way we can go ahead and make sure that we have enough for the Sword of Evil's Bane, and also the any sort of things we want to add to our bank. We are going to be taking a look at our bank for next week's video, and or in next week's video, and we're going to be talking about its rules moving forward, because when we first got the bank supplement, I went ahead and established that there were 2,500 points in there. Every jump we have made sure to add some additional points in there, so even though we probably don't have 2,500, we're going to have a hefty sum, thanks in part to insurance, and also the fact that we have been active in adding choice points back into it. So hopefully we will still have enough that for a while we can keep the additional 500 at the start of every jump going. I just really like having that number, and by now we've had enough individual installments into the bank as well as interest payments in the bank that we probably have a nice little nest egg. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump on over to the drawbacks. There we go. So all we need is, let's see, all we need is 100 choice points. We are, all right, cool. We don't want to add either of those two things, but potentially up to that's funny. I do think that we will add Lost and Aloof, because even though we do have plans to eventually have even though we do have plans to eventually have companions and probably even romance, I don't want this version of Zelda to be the person that we add as our first companion, and I definitely don't want to romance this version of Zelda. It's not for any specific reason, it's just that this is not my favorite version of Zelda, so I see no reason to do that. So let's see. I am going to, for a major crime, damn, let's see, damn retcons. I'm going to look for something else. You have a unique reaction. Oh, that's neat. And of course, this only works inside the Dark World and only thanks to certain miasma. The Heart of the Hero. I am glancing through all of these. You. Wow, that is very funny. Let's see. You know what? I will say that damn, okay. I've glanced through all of these. I want to add at least another one. I will say that we will add transform into a rabbit, and we will put those choice points into our bank, or turn into a rabbit, and we will add those choice points to our bank. I think that that is going to be something that is very good in the future. We are not going to do the randomizer, although I originally thought about doing that. Let's see. Here are some notes. I wanted to just go ahead and show you all everything. So as you can see, the Wish for Peace perk is an extremely powerful and thematic perk for Luciano the Jumper. It is one of those perks that moves Luciano far more firmly into hero/heroism territory. I am so glad that we were able to get it. It's worth noting that there are other things that I wanted us to get as well, but I ultimately decided to focus on making sure that we have the true heroism build. And we are continuing to move forward with making Luciano into more of a hero. Luciano is becoming more serious. In my head, I do picture Luciano going through all of the Legend of Zelda jumps and looking. I definitely picture Luciano demonstrating a surprising interest in the researcher origin and the Breath of the Wild jump, which I do have plans for us to visit and which we probably will get a researcher build for, simply because of how incredible that particular jump is. That's okay. Sorry for showing you all something random in the corner there. I had to check to see how much battery my computer had. I do have plans for us to go and get the researcher build. I do want Luciano the Jumper to eventually start to do more science things, especially now that Luciano the Jumper is actually demonstrating an interest in science and is doing science stuff. But for right now, I'm very glad that we went ahead and we got the perks that we did. I definitely think that a Wish for Peace, some of the more useful perks here, the Truth Comes Out and Wish for Peace are just genuinely incredible perks if you are a hero and you want to do hero things. I'm so extremely glad that we were able to go and get those. I think that they are remarkable perks, and I cannot wait to show them off and see how they affect future settings. I think that a Wish for Peace, complete with the Rite of Conquest, is such a powerful thing, because basically, if you combine the two, you could very easily take over enemy kingdoms when the kings are evil monsters. Like, I believe his name is King Ashnard from the Fire Emblem Path of Radiance games, where you can take over their kingdom and you can also effectively save the world from their madness and restore the worlds from their damages. If you go to Avatar and you try to face Fire Lord Ozai and you do defeat him, think of all of the people who would be brought back to life, all of the people who'd be restored following the end of his reign. even if it's only half of people, that is still an incredible transformation for truly so many settings. This, if I had known about this perk earlier, I probably would have gotten it earlier in the chain, because I'm going to be completely honest, with all of Luciano the Jumper's perks, this is not going to be an extremely difficult setting. Luciano the Jumper is far from an Elder Jumper or even particularly powerful, but they are powerful enough that there are certain settings that are just not going to be capable of challenging them. So I'm very glad that we've hit that level of power. That said, I am going to go ahead and end the video here. I hope that all of you are having a truly wonderful day. I'm surprised and delighted at how short this video is going to be. The story video, which is going to come out tomorrow for Patreons and is going to come out publicly for Patreons, or not for Patreons, but is going to come out publicly tomorrow relative to when this video is published, is going to be very neat. I'm very excited to see how all of our perks put together are going to mix together and are going to create something incredible. I cannot wait to see you, but bye everyone. I hope that you have a wonderful day.